Stoicism began around 300 BC in Athens, under the open colonnade known as the Stoa Poikile, from which the philosophy takes its name. Its founder was Zeno of Citium, born circa 334 BC in Cyprus. Ancient sources tell a dramatic origin. Zeno, once a merchant, survived a shipwreck that left him penniless. Seeking purpose, he wandered into Athens and found himself drawn to philosophy when he witnessed a bookseller reading Plato. Legend says he asked, "Where can I find a man like this?" Zeno studied under various teachers, including Crates of Thebes, a prominent Cynic disciple of Socrates, but he soon forged his own path, spending his days teaching in the painted porch, where he systematized a new view of life, rooted in virtue and reason and harmony with nature. Zeno's Stoicism was built on three pillars: logic, physics, and ethics. Unlike earlier schools, Stoics saw no separation between thought, nature, and how we live. His aim was clear: live in accord with the Logos, the rational order of the universe. Zeno's ideas drew admiration, but it was his successors who refined Stoicism into a coherent system. Cleanthes of Assos, his student, took over leadership around 260 BC. Cleanthes composed the famous hymn to Zeus, praising universal reason or divine fire as the guiding force of nature. This hymn captures Stoicism's cosmological view. Everything is connected under divine law, yet the system needed rigor. That came from Chrysippus of Soli, Cleanthes' successor. Active around 230 BC, Chrysippus authored hundreds of works on logic, ethics, physics, firmly establishing Stoic doctrines we still recognize today. Though most of his writings are lost, fragments show a mind concerned with logic and moral duty. He argued for responsibility even in a predetermined world, and advanced Stoic propositions that would shape Western logic for centuries. By the 1st century BC, Stoicism had traveled from Athens to Rome and into the hands of influential Romans. Panaetius of Rhodes introduced Stoicism into Roman salons around 140 BC, softening some rigid ideas and integrating Platonic and Aristotelian influences. His student Posidonius further blended Stoic thought with science and cosmology, spreading its influence through letters and travel. By the 1st century AD, Rome was home to the most famous Stoics. Seneca the Younger, born 4 BC, was a statesman under Emperor Nero. Yet his writing, from letters to Lucilius to On the Shortness of Life, blended rich prose with practical Stoic ethics. He reminds us that time is our main possession and teaches us not to chase luxury, but to train our minds and face hardship calmly. Ausonius Rufus, often called the Roman Socrates, was an earlier contemporary of Seneca. Arrested multiple times for philosophical dissent, he advocated applying Stoicism to everyday life, marriage, education, personal virtue. Importantly, he taught Epictetus, the philosopher born a slave around 55 AD. Epictetus gained his freedom and started teaching in Nicopolis, Greece, after Domitian banished philosophers from Rome. Unlike Seneca, Epictetus wrote nothing himself. Instead, his student Arrian captured his teachings in Discourses and the concise Enchiridion. Epictetus's central insight was the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, our decisions, our reasoning, while others, wealth, reputation, health, are not. His idea was that we should focus our efforts where we can change outcomes within us and accept the rest. Next came the philosopher-emperor Marcus Aurelius, who ruled Rome between 161 and 180 AD. Although he wrote in moments stolen from commanding armies, his private reflections became the enduring work we call Meditations, an unplanned guide for self-mastery. He references Epictetus, Heraclitus, and Greek tragedians, revealing a man striving to remain wise under pressure. Marcus's emphasis on duty, rational response, and cosmic unity underscores Stoicism's power and its practical scope even at the empire's top. By the end of the 2nd century, Stoicism's classical era ended, but its influence persisted. With the rise of Christianity, Stoic ethics were absorbed into moral theology. Thinkers like Augustine appreciated Stoic humility and rational order. During the Renaissance, Justus Lipsius revived Stoic ethics, Neo-Stoicism, applying it to politics and Christian doctrine. In modern times, Stoicism has re-emerged. The work of writers like Ryan Holiday has popularized Stoic ideas like negative visualization, controlling responses, focusing on essentials, making ancient wisdom accessible through books, podcasts, and social media. Figures from business and politics, like Bill Gates and Barack Obama, have endorsed it as a guide to facing complexity and stress. Let's trace Stoicism's historical arc more closely. Zeno fled loss and embraced philosophy. In the Stoa Poikile, he taught that virtue, in alignment with nature and reason, creates life's greatest good. He emphasized logic and accepted a cosmic order that guided personal ethics. Cleanthes inherited Zeno's school and wrote about divine reason governing all of existence. His hymn to Zeus celebrated that unity, from the cosmos to personal moral choices. Chrysippus. Chrysippus's prolific works made Stoicism systematic. His work on propositional logic and cosmic determinism spotlighted moral responsibility within a rational universe. Middle Stoa, Panaetius and Posidonius. They brought Stoicism to Rome and softened its rigidity. Stoicism became adaptable, scientific, and more widely accessible. Seneca's accessible style made Stoicism relatable. As a powerful orator and tragic playwright, he critiqued luxury, urged reflection on mortality, and taught ethical living amid imperial politics. Epictetus. His background as a slave gave Stoicism an egalitarian tone. He taught that freedom is inward. We are in control when we master our own reactions. Marcus Aurelius. As emperor, he elevated Stoicism to leadership ethics. Meditations reflects personal struggle, impermanence, empathy, and universal purpose. Stoicism in action at the highest level. Textual sources reflect these ideas. The Stoa Poikile court in Athens gave Stoicism its public presence. Zeno's three-branch philosophy, logic, physics, ethics, forming a unified way to reason about nature, knowledge, and how to live. Stoic logic, pioneered by Chrysippus, laid the groundwork for propositional reasoning. For Roman Stoics, ethics took center stage. Virtue became the goal of life. Seneca brought it into letters and tragedies. Epictetus into moral instruction. Marcus Aurelius into personal monologue. After Rome, Stoicism influenced Neoplatonism, Christian thought, and Renaissance humanism. Lipsius and Montaigne drew on Stoics to navigate political and spiritual tensions. Consider this. Across 500 years of philosophical history, Stoicism evolved from Zeno's ideals to a powerful guide for rulers, slaves, statesmen, and today, everyday people. Its resilience lies in practicality. It met historical upheaval and personal tragedy with tools, not dogma. Ultimately, Stoicism asks, can we shape our inner responses even when our world is chaotic? Zeno said yes. teaching virtue even as Athens fell. Chrysippus built the logic. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus showed us how. And their words still resonate. We are part of the same logos, bound by ethics and reason. A tradition spanning centuries. If studying this history sparked your curiosity, hit like and subscribe. Let's explore how these ideas shaped modern philosophy and maybe find insight in our own challenges. Could Epictetus's dichotomy still guide today's world leaders? Did Seneca influence early Christian thought in surprising ways? Leave a comment on which Stoic figure inspired you most.